Hey everyone, welcome back to RetroBreak. Today we're taking a look at a new flash cart for the DS. This is called the Easy Flash Parallel, and there's something really cool about this that a lot of other cards can't do, and that is the fact that you can actually use it in a 3DS as well. You can't play 3DS games, you can actually only play DS games, but the ability to be able to use this in a 3DS is really good. There is another selling point to this as well, and that is the fact that it also includes an FPGA core. I don't know what it does, it doesn't seem to do anything at the minute, but maybe there's possibilities in the future that they can expand on this and add some extra systems to it as well. So, as far as I'm aware, this is a basic flash card for the DS that can do everything that every other flash card for the DS has been able to do for years, apart from the fact that it's also compatible with the 3DS. So I've filled it with some interesting things for us to check out, and I've got a range of different DS systems here on the desk as well. So let's take a look and see what it can do. Let's start with the 3DS, as that is the selling point. Before we take a look at how it runs in the system, let's just appreciate the build quality here. It looks really nice. It's got a really nice PCB on the inside and nice clear plastic as well. And the micro SD card slot actually goes in the side rather than the top, which is a nice addition to these things too. It does specify that you can go up to 32 gigabytes, which is what I've got in here, but I have seen some people online go all the way up to 256 with no problems, but if you want to guarantee that it works, get a good 32 gig card. So let's put it in the system and see how it looks when we turn it on. So interestingly, the first thing you'll notice is that it actually comes up as this Japanese version of Harvest Moon, but when you press into it, instead of booting up Harvest Moon as you would expect, it instead boots into the Parallels menu. And you can see once it loads up that it's a nice simple menu, and you can obviously customize the themes and things too. And if you have anything in the second card slot on the DS Lite or original DS, that will show up there as well. You can see that there's different folders here, and it's a nice layout, and it's got a nice calendar on the top, and it says Parallel. So let's go down to ROMs, and there's a bunch of DS games that I put on here. Apparently some flash cards have an issue trying to run Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow, so let's give that one a go and see how it works. There we go, and I adjusted the brightness a little bit so you should be able to see it a bit clearer. So let's turn the sound up and let's check out Dawn of Sorrow. So the first thing you can see, it's not instant, it had that little processing bit there. And let's see how the game plays. Okay, so yeah, we are having really bad frame rate dips on this intro cutscene here. This is not how it should look at all. So that's really disappointing that it can't run this properly. I was hoping that a more modern flash card would be able to play this with no issues whatsoever. But yeah, this is unwatchable. So although the FMV didn't play properly, the gameplay itself seemed to be fine, so it really depends whether this is a deal breaker for you or not. So let's check out one of my favourite games on the system. This is Meteos. There was a little bit of a stutter there as well, that's not in the regular game, which was quite surprising. But yeah, once you're in the game, it seems perfectly fine again, so it seems like when you boot some of these games up they might have some issues to begin with, but once you actually get into the gameplay, it seems like most of those issues iron themselves out. There's a few other interesting things that I wanted to check out on here. I downloaded a few emulators, including a GBA one and a Game Boy Color one, and also some ROM hacks and some homebrew games as well, so let's check those out. Starting off with the emulators first. So unfortunately, the Game Boy Color emulator doesn't seem to be able to load up, or at least not the DSi version, so let's try the DS ROM instead and see whether that fixes it. Alright, this one looks like it booted up okay, so let's check out the game that I put on here, which is Wendy Every Witch's Way, which is one of my favourite games for the Game Boy Color, so let's see how this runs on the 3DS using a DS emulator. The resolution is very blocky because obviously it's upscaling from the DS to the 3DS, which is never that great, but let's see how it runs in the game itself. Okay, once we're into the game, everything seems like it runs just fine, which is good. Oh, there we go, we've got some special DS specific options here. Save states and load states. We've got key configuration, a few extra options here, and display options. Oh, there we go, we can make it full screen, which kind of messes up the scaling a little bit, so maybe that's not the best option. But it looks okay, like it's playable. I'd be happy to play a game like that. Let's see what other options we've got. We've got full, which stretches it across the entire DS screen. Not the 3DS screen. As you can see, that would be even wider if it was on the 3DS. So I probably wouldn't ever use that one. Or scaling off completely, which just puts it in its original aspect ratio. There's also a filter there, which I guess, depending on what you do, it changes anyway. So that was the Game Boy Color emulator. Seems to run okay. It probably looks better on the DS, and we'll check that out in a little bit. But let's check out a Game Boy Advance emulator, which I'm quite curious about, because I don't think the DS is powerful enough to run GBA games through an emulator, but let's take a look. Okay, so for this one, I've put Kirby's Nightmare in Dreamland on there, so let's see how this actually handles it. Got a bunch of different save types. Let's just try automatic. Press A for autosave. A for normal. A for normal. Oh my god, there's a lot of options on this one. Okay, that didn't work. I wasn't sure whether it would or not. I probably picked some of the wrong options there. But let's see if we can soft reboot it. No, that thinks we went into sleep mode. Which I guess is good. It means that it has some sort of sleep mode compatibility. And it's just switched off completely, so that didn't work, but there's one more thing that I want to show off on here, and that is some ROM hacks. I found a really cool one for Mario Kart, and I can't wait to share this one with you guys. So this is called Mario Kart DS Nitro Grand Prix, and this is a bunch of brand new courses and characters, and it's so cool. So definitely check this one out if you get a flashcard for the DS. Just have a look at all the stuff that's available on here. I was blown away when I saw what was on this for the first time. So there's the regular characters, but if you press L and R, you've got a whole new cast of characters to choose from, which is just really cool. So let's try this, a SNES Mario. And not only that, but if you press L and R here, you get a whole new set of courses too. Some new ones, some reimagined from previous games, and it just goes on and on. Look at all this. How cool is that? Even some Wii ones on there, even Wii U ones, and some brand new courses too, including ones from different games as well. So there was one that I saw on here, the Green Hill Zone, and one from Mario Galaxy. So let's check out Green Hill Zone and see how that runs on Mario Kart DS. How cool is this? Look at that, completely brand new graphics, new course layouts. So that is one massive benefit to having flashcards. You can check out all of these really cool fan-made projects, and I didn't know where the course was going there. Here's a loop-the-loop in true Sonic fashion. Kind of feels like I'm playing Trackmania now. It's even got the ball from the boss fight. That's so cool. There we go. So that is an example of the cool things that you can find online that have been made by fans on DS ROMs, and there's so much cool stuff out there. I'll definitely do a full video on it in the future. But now, let's see how all this works in an older style of DS. So let's get out the original DS Fat and try it in there instead. And it's just great to be able to play this in any DS or 3DS system. So here's my original DS Fat from launch day, all the way back in 2005. And this feels so weird to hold after holding the new 3DS, or new 2DS, should I say. But yeah, boots up perfectly fine, got the same menu there. Let's boot up another one of these ROM hacks. Here's a really cool one for New Super Mario Bros. With a brand new set of levels. And I love these games, so it's always really fun to play brand new courses. There we go, so as you can see, that was a remake of the first level from Super Mario 1 on the NES, and it's so cool to be able to play custom levels and things on classic DS games. And just for completeness, let's show it off on a DS Lite and on a DSi as well. So let's start with the DS Lite right here, with a broken hinge, unfortunately. I need to get a new one. But yeah, boots up as the same game that we saw on the 3DS there. And it seemed to boot up a bit faster on here actually. So that's really cool, and you've got the same menu there. Let's try the GBA emulator again to see whether we can get it to work. I don't know if these are maybe an issue. Let's try this one that says new. No, unfortunately we got the same error message, so if anyone knows what that means, let me know down in the comments below. And finally, let's try it on a DSi. This is actually a modded DSi This is my favourite way of playing DS games. This is a Japanese DSi, and it's the only way to get the white one, DSi LL, as you can see on the back there. So let's see what happens if we put this into a system that's already pre-modded. And this one always takes a while to boot up, so that's why it's on this screen for a little bit, because it boots into the Twilight menu first. But if we press select, we can actually boot up into this DS Lite menu here, and as you can see, there's the homebrew card right there. So let's try and have a look and see how it looks in the DSi. I'm assuming it will look better on here than anything else, just because the resolution of the screens is correct. So yeah, as expected, it looks amazing on here. And let's try that Game Boy Color emulator again, and I can show you what it's meant to look like. There is actually a DSi specific one on there, so I wonder whether it can actually tell it's running on the DSi and do something extra. So no, I don't know what that one's for. It's coming up with the same weird garbled error message. So let's try the DS one, and we'll boot it up again and try the different scaling options on something that is the correct aspect ratio. Wow, already, yeah, instantly it looks way better on this screen. Just the pixels are in the right place and nothing looks weirdly stretched or smoothed out. So let's see whether we can get it to fill the screen here. So if we press L or R, I think, that's how you get this menu up on the bottom. And even that looks so much nicer on this one, so let's try aspect scaling. So there we go, it is full screen. You can still see that the scaling's not quite right, like if you look at the way the text looks. But it looks a lot better than it did on the 3DS. There we go, I would be very happy playing it like this. Even if it does have very slight scaling issues, but it's not really anything to complain about that much. But let's see if we change it to full instead. That kind of looks worse. That's actually filling up the entire aspect ratio of the screen. So that's what we were missing on the 3DS. Like, it still looks okay. It's kind of like playing the Game Boy Color games in widescreen mode on the GBA. So again, you could probably be happy playing this. And that's probably the best way to play it. Like, look how big and colourful that screen is. Even if it doesn't quite fill it properly. Or scaling off, and you can have it back like that, which is original Game Boy Color resolution. So that works perfectly. So there we go, that will do it for this episode on the Easy Flash Parallel for the Nintendo DS. Let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below, and if you want to get one for yourselves, then check the link down there, and the shop that very kindly sent this over to me has a link down there for you to use. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more flashcart videos of me, then click the video up there and watch that one next. Goodbye.